Hi, this is Eric Westers with Aquilius. As usual, we're having our conversation with people that are doing things to make the world better. And today we have Dr. Jeff Spivak, founder of Arthaus Barbecue. Did I get that as a CEO? Did I miss something?
Founder and owner.
Founder and owner of Arthaus Barbecue. And let's face it, who doesn't like barbecue? Um, at some level, you can barbecue anything great, even if you're a vegetarian. When you barbecue things, they're great. But with you, it's not just about barbecue. It's about food, nutrition, making the world better. So take me back to this food, and did it start with food? Did it start with health? When was the moment that you said the path, this is the path you want to start on? What triggered that? Were you reading something? Were you tasting something? Were you having a conversation? What was that moment like when it really solidified and you knew that this was the path you wanted to go on?
The path probably began about a decade ago when I was trained as a chef by a very good friend of mine who is a French chef and who worked for a Michelin star restaurant. And he took me under his wing and he trained me both in Britain and in France. And then I
What
came.
did when you what made you want to train with him? Was it just you met him and you liked him, or did you seek him out? What made you want to have a passion for being a chef in the first place?
Oh, cooking was always a passion of mine. So I cooked all my life. Um, I describe
Did
it
you get
as
that
a
from your parents, or did you just do it on your own?
possibly from my parents, perhaps. But I was also trained as a chemist, and my first degree is in chemistry and biochemistry, more specifically. But then I drifted out of this specific field. Nonetheless, food remained as a kind of edible chemistry.
Edible chemistry.
So
Well,
you
food
do
is
your
chemistry. You can't argue with that.
exactly. So you take your reagents, or if you will, your ingredients, and you heat them and you mix them and you do all sorts of transformations with them. And by the end of it, you get your product. And then the measure of success is not your analytical, the battery of analytical tests that you run. The measure of your success is your palate.
That's the first. So the first measure is taste, always. It's a
It,
taste,
it's
which
it,
leads to experience, which leads to connection and all kinds of stuff. But
precisely. And
but
I'm
later,
by name, yeah,
but
that's
but
exactly right.
but more
And I'm by
recently, we
na-
realize that it's also connected to health, kind of the idea that food really is the ultimate medicine.
Precisely, yes. That kicked in later. So for 5 years, I was moonlighting as a chef, and then eventually head chef in Great Britain, where I lived. And then 5 years ago, I came to San Diego to marry my wife. Um, and so everything was put on hold for a year and a half because she was just at that time she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we went through yeah, a year and a half of endless appointments and doctor visits and surgeries and so on and so forth. And that brought out the health aspect of food because obviously I took on all the cooking in the house. Um, and for the first time, I had to think not only in terms of just pure quality and taste of food and the presentation of food, but also the digestibility of food, the nutritional value of food, the all those things that never really entered my mind before. Um, on the one hand, on the other hand, I was very impressed by the American tradition of barbecue, which is unknown in Europe.
Where'd you find that? What was your first barbecue? Do you remember it?
The first barbecue, yes, we traveled to Phoenix, Arizona, and there by the roadside we found this barbecue joint. We went in and I was hooked. It was unlike anything I've tasted before. And it was the I have to say, yeah, it was the first thing in the United States that really made a huge positive, food-wise, positive impression on me. The rest was okay, but that was mind-blowing. So I came back to San Diego kind of absolutely reeling from the experience, and I thought, my goodness, if I want to, I want to do something like that. Um, Yet at the same time, the more I thought about it, the more I realized just how outdated and how um, behind the times the technology is. Because you have people operating literally steam engines without wheels, belching clouds of smoke, and
Or wheels. We have a lot of barbecue on wheels.
or on wheels. Yes, exactly. Well, the pit that we visited, it was these were steel drums,
Right.
um, just sitting on their foundations, and but for all
I used to go
practical
to a
purposes,
martial arts camp in Oklahoma, and while we were training,
uh-huh.
they would wheel on the barbecue, and the whole time we were wheeling, every once in a while the guy would go over there, and redo the barbecue. So by the end of a hard day of training, we had a great barbecue, and it
I
was
bet.
and it
Yes.
was real Oklahoma barbecue. I
Oh,
mean, these people were passionate about exactly what you use, the vessel, the ingredients, how you made the heat. It was
yes, exactly. Yeah.
a lot of moving parts in that steam engine you just talked about.
That's exactly right. But nonetheless, the technology is essentially Victorian.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought, right, there's Teslas zooming around, and yet the best American food item is still prepared in these kind of industrial revolution era um, steel drums with people putting logs on in the firebox and spending 12 hours tending to the fire and then shoveling out the ashes and et cetera, et cetera. So this technology is removed from the present by what at least three generations of technological progress. Um, so I began reading into it, and I realized, of course, that the technology itself, yes, it's vastly outdated, but it's not the original technology. The fact that the steel drum is still called the pit harkens back to an even earlier version where it was indeed a pit
Yeah.
dug into the ground, and then it was revolutionized and brought out from the pit into the steel drum. So I realized that even that is not a static or a given technological state of barbecue, which made me think that yeah, why not bring barbecue into the Tesla age?
So passion for food. Your recipe for creating a Jeff Spivak is passion for food plus a knowledge of chemistry plus concern for health through a challenging experience with your wife, plus the
Pre-
discovery of barbecue, said, let's
Precisely.
put those together into something that's healthy and modern. So, what is your biggest challenge when you go out to create the art house version of the barbecue? Was it easy? Did you know everything there, or did you have to learn something specific? If you pick one thing that was your greatest challenge in making that journey to what you have today, what would you say your biggest challenge that you had to overcome was?
The the absolute biggest challenge was, of course, the business part of it. Yeah. It's that is where I knew absolutely nothing. It was foreign to me. It was alien to me. It was, yeah, completely new to me. The rest was challenging in the way of just simply developing a new process but I could handle it as a scientist. That was in my bones. So it took actually several years to perfect it, but nonetheless it was natural. But the business side of it was very, very difficult. Um, and I would have never gotten where I'm now without the help by small business development centers here in San Diego, the wonderful people who supported me and helped me and went every step of the way with me and held me by the hand. And just, it was, yeah, I can't say enough good things about um, everyone who I was involved with there. But in the end, I think the technology and the process that I refined, because yeah, of course it was kicked off with the COVID when I was grounded at home, so I started experimenting. Eventually ending up with a product that was completely digestible, low fat, low salt, no additives. Obviously, heavy smoke compounds is a big concern because they're cancerogenic. So no heavy smoke compounds, no soot, because as it turns out, the famous bark on the surface of the barbecue is soot plays a big role in that, and soot is not very good for you.
No barbecue soot, just food.
Just food. So the challenge was to refine the product to the standard of traditional barbecue or above that standard. And I could say yes, and I ended up with a product that surpasses the traditional one.
So let's talk about taste. What do people tell you when they taste your barbecue?
Melt in the mouth. That is the most uh, common response to when they taste it. It's, oh, that is melt in the mouth. So I preserve all the moisture and all the natural juiciness of your, well, let's say traditional brisket. I convert all the collagen into the lovely gooey gelatin that we so love in the barbecue. And then, of course, it is infused with very clean, very pure smoke, uh, just enough to give it the smoky essence without actually precipitating any negative chemicals onto the surface of the product.
And you've tested this with all kinds of proteins?
Yes, yes, yes. By now, yes, it's the whole range from salmon, turkey, pork, beef, ribs, spare ribs, etc. Yeah. So
Fish,
the
chicken,
whole,
pork meat.
yeah. So
How
the,
can we
the
do
entire
vegetables?
spectrum is covered.
Friends or vegetables done well?
Yes, yeah. So the idea is to it almost kind of encapsulates this perfect Mediterranean diet when you serve it, and I love to serve it on a bed of salad, freshly prepared salad, and then it is topped up with these proteins, and it's just a perfect meal. You get up from it, and you know you're full, but you're not sluggish. It doesn't slow you down. It doesn't overwhelm your digestion. It just, oh, it's perfect.
So, so now we have the methodology.
Yeah.
Art House Barbecue can deliver that.
Yes.
What does the future look like? Are you going to open these everywhere? Is it going to be franchised? Do you think you're going to sell your technique? what do you think the next 1 to 3 years looks like for you?
First off, I would like to be established somewhere where I can make it open and available to the public. Um, I love people, and I'm very socially orientated person, and gathering people around the meal is, well, kind of it's second to none in my books. By training and by trade, other than doing food, I've been teaching for many years, and in fact, I'm still teaching. So I've worked with people and big groups of people for many, many years, and I just love doing it. But delivering a lecture or a lesson or delivering barbecue to to a group of people in my books, it's
And I'm looking for that, because the barbecue is part of it, but you're a chef, so you think whole meal and experience. So I'm very interested what we could see at Aquilius because we do a lot of events and have a lot of food, and even we do a lot of fundraising for prizes and things. I'm very excited to see what we can see just in the San Diego community with the food is great, but just what we can combine that with to make a whole, not just that one experience, which is going to be great, but the whole thing.
absolutely. It can range from the most elegant and the most formal arrangement because yeah, I'm French trained, so we can do um, the new cuisine, the nouvelle cuisine very well. We can do traditional rustic service. But then, of course, this, once you have the protein in your hands, you can refract it into so many different things. You can go from sandwiches to salad bowls to stews to just about anything you can imagine.
Sounds exciting. From 4th of July to farm to fork dinners, from 4th of July backyard barbecue to farm to fork dinners.
Absolutely.
And what I
Yeah.
like about it is it's something that people can see an immediate impact, and then they see a long-term impact. So I like things that have immediate impact that people can realize this is really tasty, but long-term impact in terms of health.
Health and also environmental impact because the process that I'm using, how should I put it? It uses no fossil fuels at all. I don't burn, not only I don't burn logs, I don't even burn gas. It's fully electric. And the efficiency is such that I run about 250 pounds worth of meat on the energy of a single light bulb.
Fantastic.
So that makes it not only good for the consumer, for the people who are enjoying it, but it also makes it an absolute win for the environment. I don't drain any fat into the sewers. There's no waste practically. It's exceedingly economical and exceedingly low impact in terms of its environmental footprint.
Well, I'm exceedingly excited to try this out, so I can't wait. Is there any other thing we haven't covered that you think everybody should know?
I think we've done a pretty good job. Um,
I'm impressed. I'm excited. I think this is a conversation that a lot of
should
people
be
want to be part of,
continued
not
over
just
a tray of barbecue.
because I imagine lots of partners coming in that from sandwich makers to farm to fork dinners to, I can see a
Exactly.
lot of people. So it's not just this one thing, it's the fact that, like you said, it can be combined in so many
Precisely.
areas.
You,
It's just
you you
part of
can do
this.
you can do tacos with it just as easily as anything else. So it lends itself to absolutely anything.
Well, I'm excited about that. I guess the most important question, if somebody wants to find more about you or Arthaus Barbecue, where do they go?
They will be able to go to thearthausbbq.com in the near future. The site is still under development. It's in its last phases, and it should be finished and polished and put online in the next week or two.
So by the time most people see this, they can go to the arthausbbq.com.
Precisely, yes.
Well,
That
Dr. Jeff Spivak, um, founder and operator of the Arthaus Barbecue, thank you very much for being here.
it was an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to actually having you taste the product that we have discussed in such detail.
We'll capture that too. So people, you can either come do it with us or you can capture us through our channels.
No, please come to Aquilius and try it for
Yeah,
yourself.
follow us on our, Quigley's YouTube channel, our Instagram, our LinkedIn. We're all there. Thank
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.